Interesting. Let's see.
That's a nice setup.
So in this setup, we do have three servers. Two servers are the StarWind storage appliances. One is the storage consumer. It has all-flash array connected via iSCSI. And we show some basic failover and show the performance behavior during the failover. So this is how our thick client looks like and web client looks like. So we didn't get into a problem VMware had when they released their web client. We decided to keep the stuff the same so people are comfortable, especially when they're managing storage. So this would be just an all-flash thing with no additional caching on top.
Is this a live demo or is this a...
No, this is not one. I had too many connectivity issues over time, so I decided that that would be a better option. So now this...
Kind of flying through it.
Yeah. So, So I would go, yeah, I would really back up too fast. I was answering questions and didn't stop the thing. Okay, so here we have the failover strategy. You see a grayed out option, node majority. And I mentioned we only need 2 nodes to do fault tolerance. But in some cases, people start asking for a third witness. So we now add 2 options. People can either use heartbeat, so redundant channels between the nodes to do the arbitration, or they can use an external witness to do that.
If you don't have a third witness, how do you do split brain scenarios?
So we realized that in our deployments, if we have all nodes local, redundant networking works good enough, especially if you do the crossover cable, so like VMware vSAN scenario did. And they do it with the external witness, we do it without one. And really, if network went down if in a crossover scenario, that means that something was physically done to the server rack, and in this case, the server is usually also affected.
You're not using Microsoft's cluster service for any of this, correct?
No.
Good.
No.
You're running on Windows, I had to ask.
I love the look on your face on that answer.
Very, very emphatic. Very emphatic.
I get to answer that question really often, and people are like, good. Okay,
I figured that was the answer, but it had to get out.
Yes.
Can you do
Not
stretch
just no,
clusters?
but hell no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we do stretch clusters, and actually node majority is one of the things we're adding to enhance stretch clustering.
Okay.
Because for now, we have multiple stretch cluster deployments where people tend to use just directed Wi-Fi between the buildings. So in case something happens to the wired connection underground, they have just a small 1 or 2 meg link they can use for the arbitration.
Oh, that's cool.
Okay, so we're just creating a replica for the first device we created here. Then provide the target name, provide the IP addresses for
If I ever find the guy who came up with that IQN format, I'm gonna kill him.
Yeah. 1 and 2. And finally select not to synchronize. Empty devices, confirm. So there is some full protection. We had people who were synchronizing over the new data and decided to make it maximum number of disclaimers. Okay.
As you scale out node to node on the storage appliance stuff, are you replicating the data across, if I have like, say, 10 nodes,
Okay.
I have a file or a piece of data or whatever, or a LUN. Is that LUN being replicated in, first of all, does that LUN sit all in one node? Does it separate across nodes, and is it then fully replicated, or is it erasure coded across nodes?
Okay, so right now it is fully replicated, but if you say 10 nodes, we maintain up to 3 copies.
Okay.
So there can be 3 active copies of the data. The most simple data protection level is local RAID, so let's say non-replicated LUN would be just presented from one node.
And that LUN is, and each copy of the LUN is going to be within one node, correct? I can't make a LUN bigger than any of the sizes of a single node.
Currently not.
Thank you.
And the replication granularity is the VHD or the VMDK?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not the LUN?
Not the LUN?
So the minimum replication granularity, if you use vvols, let's say, would be the VMDK. And yeah, typically, if you don't go down to managing one virtual machine per LAN, in case of vvols, that would be a LAN level.
But you can replicate the VMDK only.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's kind of inherent in vvols that
Yeah.
all management shifts down to that
But
level.
even the VHD it would sit in a LUN in the CSV, right? So
I think I may have leaked something we're working on.
Yeah, but you don't white stripe below that.
No, no.
Okay.
I mean, there are guys on the market who do that, so why should we just replicate that model? So we had slightly different focus, and that's something that Anton will focus on later, saying
It's
that,
become much less important as the amount of flash becomes larger. White striping was a way to get performance from a lot of slow devices.
In your large clusters, you said you maintain 3 copies of the
Up to
data?
3.
Up to 3 copies?
up to 3.
In a node failure, does the virtual machine try to find another node where that data locality remains
Yeah, so
consistent? Or do you have remote access? How does that work from a performance in a failure scenario?
from the performance scenario, there would be 2 or 3 nodes where data is local in the cluster, and that's where the virtual machine will use these 2 or 3 nodes as primary nodes in Hyper-V or VMware. So the preferred storage for it would be where the data is local.
How was that communicated to the hypervisor or the HA drivers in the case of?
yeah, is there a vMotion done after a failure?
How is that possible?
Yeah, so with the hyper-converged appliance, it's usually communicated on the initial configuration level. So right now, something I didn't tell before, that we're automating that feature for Hyper-V. So the placement and then the migration gets done automatically.
Okay, but you don't have a way to tell DRS, for example,
Go move your VM. yeah.
which are the preferred locations when it's going to do relocation.
Yeah, so that's not yet.
Do you provide events when that happens to a management?
Yeah, events to the management and also the
probably write it.
all the notifications.
You could probably write that.
Well, yeah, so it's like, if you can script it,
no,
that doesn't mean it's like
Yeah,
part of
you
it.
you can't write it because you need to put another input into the DRS decision making.
Well, right. Who's got a node that's got less load on it? You got to make the decision yourself. I mean, we've seen.
Yeah, you have
some
to
other
turn off.
organizations-
You have to
Yeah.
build your own DRS.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, because there's no API.
I didn't say it would be fun. I
Yeah,
just said
there's
you could do it.
well, it would be nice if VMware provided an additional parameters input to DRS for vendors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is no such API. I've looked.
Okay, so that's the initiator machine. We do have the LAN connected here.
Okay, when I relocate a VM to a host that doesn't have a replica,
Okay.
what do you do? How do you reinforce locality?
So in case of storage, in case of current like storage appliance configuration,
The question doesn't apply.
okay. Yeah.
Right.
So in case when you relocate a virtual machine and it doesn't have a copy, for now it's not enforced. So
Okay, you just don't.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right,
we would
so you don't-
configure.
you don't generate all the traffic to
Yeah, we
move it
would
again.
configure it at start, so all the LANs and all the virtual machines are aligned, and then just get back to it on a per virtual machine basis when they are created. So the thing is that for all the deployments where it's just left there to work and there is like a standard set of VMs, we would actually help the customer to set everything up, and then when it starts running, he just doesn't need to focus on that anymore.
Okay,
And then-
and if I spawn a large number of VMs from a template, the common data is local for some and not for others.
Are there any networking prerequisites for?
Sorry?
Are there any networking prerequisites like multicast or anything for the storage network?
No, no. It's just no teaming with iSCSI, and it would be Jumbo frames can be configured. And obviously the most recent drivers if you're doing the RDMA stuff. That's causing a lot of blue screens if it's not, previously it was not mature enough, so we've seen a lot of problems which were driver related.
And don't try and run it over 100 meg Ethernet.
No, no.
What's that saying?
We actually try 100 gig now, so it's like,
Yeah.
we really like the stuff that Mellanox does with the networking. And
Yeah,
We're fond
I've
of
got their 25 gig. I like it a lot.
Do you verify the firmware as a part of your validation?
Sorry?
You verify the firmware levels of the drivers and the firmware levels of the hardware.
In our hardware, yes, we do. If it's a software-defined stack and we were asked for an installation assistance, we will do the same thing. We will make sure that the the drivers and the firmware running on the client system is not really up to date, but in our up to date and confirmed to be stable list. Yeah.
But you don't monitor it on an ongoing basis. So if a user swaps out a drive with the wrong firmware, that it doesn't notify, sort of thing.
No. No. It would be part of our system, but not in the software-defined stack. Okay, so it connects via iSCSI, and it appears as a multipath device. So there is no virtual IP, no other stuff. It's just pure MPIO. So the node decides for itself when it wants to connect to a different host, and it also configures. Sorry, it also covers the multipathing and failover part. So it's not us who decides that they need to failover. It's actually the client, and if they get higher latency on one of the nodes, obviously if that node is down, they will failover automatically. So just a few tests running here against the LUN, and we'll get to the results in just a few seconds.
Does StarWind publish performance benchmarks or any industry standard performance benchmarks against your range of products and different cluster sizes?
We do have internal comparison of what performance we can do, but it's only for the base configurations. And since there are a lot of customizations happening for each particular customer, it becomes less relevant. So we would rather work with the customer and see what performance he can get and what requirements he needs, and then provide him the benchmarks when we just build the same thing in our lab, make sure that we test it with all the latest firmware, and then show him, okay, this is what we got for you. This is not just stuff that you can do millions of IOPS. That this is what we tested in a scenario close to you. In this particular one, it's the smaller storage appliance. I think it just had 600-800 gig drives.
You support 4K drives natively?
Yeah, 4K and 512 native. That's
and 512E mode. Native mode or the 512E mode? 512 emulation mode?
Both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's actually one thing. Okay, I guess we can omit the demo now because running a bit late. 4K native. There was a time when people had this problem with VMware vSAN not supporting the 4K and emulator.
It's actually vSphere that didn't support, not vSAN.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's in the course. So, and it was when StarWind helped to bridge that gap for a certain time. We had customers just putting our free version or the Spiceworks version on top and do vSAN.
They do now with 6.5, but only in 512E mode.
So we do have two options. We can present outside either 512 or 4K. So that makes us cross-compatible with both.
And you can provide external storage as well to non-hypervisor hosts?
Yeah, absolutely. So it basically, as long as it can connect iSCSI, NFS, or SMB, we will present it. Okay. Yeah, so basically, the blue ones are the local storage benchmarks. Obviously, everything quick, dirty, and synthetic. And with StarWind HA, you see that you get either better results or almost the same results. So just to illustrate that, apart from solutions which are focused on massive scale out, we're rather focused on getting all the IOPS from the underlying storage and giving it up to the applications.
What did you use to generate the IOPS? Just curious.
I think it's with VDBench and disk speed.
Thanks.